Hello, my name is Alex Schadenberg. I'm the Executive Director of the Euthanasia Prevention Coalition. Jurisdictions that are debating the legalization of euthanasia and assisted suicide should first consider the Canadian experience before even considering doing so. Euthanasia was originally sold to Canadians as permitting an assisted death, or as we call it now, medical aided dying, as a last resort. It has quickly become normalized in Canada. Euthanasia was sold to Canadians in 2015, 2016 as legislation with safeguards that would be only for terminally ill people who were suffering and nearing death. A last resort. The law passed in June of 2016. Canada has had an unprecedented increase in the number of euthanasia deaths compared to other jurisdictions. In 2016, we had 1,015 euthanasia deaths in Canada. That was the first half year. For the full year in 2017, we had 2,833. There was 4,467 euthanasia deaths in 2018, 5,631 in 2019, and it's estimated that there was probably around 7,500 in 2020, about a 1/3 increase in 2020. The law has quickly expanded based on court decisions, doctors pushing the limits, and by Parliament expanding the law. Parliament introduced Bill C-7 in response to the Truchon court decision. So this bill was then to expand the law based on the Truchon court decision. And this was being done less than 4 years after legalizing euthanasia and assisted suicide in Canada. Truchon was based on two people with disabilities who argued that the law violated their equality rights since they did not qualify for MAID euthanasia because they were not dying, and the court agreed. What was unprecedented about the situation was the federal government did not appeal the decision because this was a lower court decision. It was not appealed. Bill C-7, though, went much further than Truchon. Bill C-7 expanded the law to include people who are not terminally ill, which was the Truchon decision. People who are not terminally ill could qualify. But then also it expanded it to include people with mental illness alone, but they're holding on to that for 24 months as they develop now protocols around doing that type of killing. And also for people who are incompetent, but have been previously approved for euthanasia. So those are people who were approved already and who have now become incompetent. They've eliminated then the requirement of the law that someone must be competent at the time of death. The disability community has stated that the law, Bill C-7, focused on them and removing the terminal illness requirement of the law. And the reason is that removing the terminal illness requirement of the law states a person has a grievous and irremediable medical condition only if they meet the following criteria. They have a serious and incurable illness, disease, or disability. They are in an advanced state of irreversible decline in capability. While many people with disabilities, that's exactly their condition. And that illness, disease, or disability, or that state of decline causes them enduring physical or psychological suffering that is intolerable to them, so it's personal, it's not about a doctor assessing them, intolerable to them, that cannot be relieved under conditions that they consider acceptable. The point of it is that the disability community has recognized that living with a disability is often based on having an advanced state of irreversible decline in capability, and it's often based on a decline which leads to enduring physical or psychological suffering. So this is focused on them when you eliminate the terminal illness requirement in the law. Dolce McCallum and Steve Este, who were members of Canada's delegation in the United Nations when we negotiated the Convention on the Rights of People with Disabilities, explained, Bill C-7 makes it entirely legal to end a person's life simply because they have a disability. The fact that parliamentarians cannot see that turns the right to equality and non-discrimination on its head and is a grave concern. In fact, it flips everything upside down. On January 26, 2021, the United Nations Human Rights Experts Group published a press release saying, disability should never be a ground or justification to end someone's life directly or indirectly. They said under no circumstance should the law provide that it could be a well-reasoned decision for a person with a disabling condition who is not dying to terminate their life with the support of the state. So the United Nations human rights experts are recognizing that laws such as Bill C-7 directly discriminate against people with disabilities. David Shannon, a lawyer and a human rights commissioner in Ontario, wrote the following. When I was 18 in first year university, I sustained a spinal cord injury in a rugby scrum that resulted in quadriplegia. It took me years to recover. David Shannon also has received the Order of Ontario. Bill C-7 enshrines these words into law. Go ahead, kill yourself. We will help you because living with a disability must be totally unbearable. Bill C-7 violates my human rights and the rights of all people with disabilities, yet no one seems to care. Before legalizing euthanasia and assisted suicide, nations need to first look at, and jurisdictions need to first look at, the Canadian experience. Thank you very much.